All right, we've done a full system scan. There's probably going to be a couple of videos on this truck, but we have some ABS light issues at different times. The light isn't on now, but at this current moment, we have 6 trouble codes in there. We have some body control, some radio codes. Really not too concerned with those. These here, if we go ahead and click on them and we run into what the trouble codes are, I just mainly want to make sure that we're kind of documenting them. These are all history codes, which kind of, see if I can get that glare off there, validates the point that, you know, the light's not on now, but we have both wheel speed sensors missing, which is very common on a Chevy, and then we have, you know, just some history codes there related to the wheel speed sensor. So excessive dump time, I'm assuming that's something with the ABS unit, but at this point everything seems to be okay. So maybe something we need to look at in the future. This is a cat eye Chevy, and we're doing a combustion gas test on it. Before we did the test, I went ahead and checked the oil on it, and we were a couple quarts low. And I know 1030 is not what, you know, I would leave in this, but we put, that's a 5-quart jug, and it was new before I started. So 2 quarts got it at least on the dipstick, so it was probably 2.5, 3 quarts low. And what this is a tailpipe emissions tester. So you can see CO, hydrocarbons, CO2, oxygen. And I've had it sitting in here for a little while. You'll have to take my word for it. The air coming across the radiator is warm. So the thermostat is open and we have no hydrocarbons. I'm gonna walk to the back here. Anytime you're doing this, you wanna make sure that you do not get any coolant in or on this probe. It will ruin or cause you to have to rebuild or send your gas analyzer off for service. I just want to show you what it looks like when it's in the tailpipe here. And this is a snap-on scan gas is what it's called. It'll take it a moment to draw the gases from the tailpipe through this short hose. I do this short hose so I get a more accurate reading. All right, you can see the O2 going way down, and you can see the hydrocarbons coming up, which is right. Oh, I may have messed this up. You can see the hydrocarbons coming up, which is basically gas fumes or combustion gas. So what I was looking for in the radiator was I didn't want to see any, which we didn't. So we're in pretty good shape there. You saw the O2 was at 20 something. Atmosphere is, I think, 21 point something, 22, if somebody knows. The rest of it is nitrogen, basically. So we're not doing a gas analyzer test at this point, but you can see that this is what I'm checking for. The condensation's about normal. That's a byproduct of catalyst. So we have a very, very leaking water pump on this one. It's flat pouring. We poured over 2 gallons in here to do the pressure test, and you can see my pressure tester here, and it is definitely coming out of the front there. The lower hose is very spongy due to oil contamination, and it'll probably be hard to get it in here, but this tank is leaking on the radiator. So we have some other things we need to look at on this truck, but definitely a set of hoses, upper and lower, thermostat. The lower hose is part of the heater hoses, so those need to be taken care of while we're in here. And then obviously a water pump replacement. We do have to take a look at the front end on it, the 4-wheel drive, and then the driver's seat belt. We do have some busted exhaust manifold bolts. That's just going to be time of extraction, and more than likely either machine the manifolds or replace them depending on how much warpage they have. That is a non-routine task, so I consider that something that, you know, when you're dealing with broken extracting bolts, there's not necessarily a labor guide to go to, and we have multiple ones broken on this side as well as the driver's side. You probably don't hear them leaking in the video. Let's see if I can zoom in on that one. That front one, yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to get it, but the rear one, you can see it, it's gone. There should be a bolt right there. So that's a non-routine task, that's time spent. So we've got the initial root cause of what the concern is. Definitely contaminated the belts, if I didn't say that earlier in the video. Once the coolant's contaminated, they need to be replaced with service. and then I would like to put a fan clutch on there since we're going to have it off anyway. Before we power things down and call it good, you can see that it has come back down to atmosphere, basically, the amount of O2 in there. So the gas analyzer is a very expensive tool, but for a job like this, before we go spending money, knowing that the head gaskets, or to the best of my ability, that we don't have combustion gas in there, definitely puts me ahead of most other shops that we're not spending money on an engine that's bad. So that's good news. Definitely was low on oil. It's a wee pass on the oil change. I'm gonna chalk that up to why we were 2+ quarts low on oil, and we'll kind of look the rest of it over and make a plan from there.